What is up, everybody? It's your boy Max Gallegos here with another sports rant. And oh boy, do we have a show for you. Is it just me, or has the first round of these playoffs felt more dramatic than anything we've had in these recent years? For the most part, these games have been intense, they've been physical, they've been chippy, they've been technicals, people getting mad, getting in their face, games are close, games decided at the buzzer, series going tied. It's been awesome. Even the series that have been very loose and kind of wrapped up quickly, like the Bucks tonight and the Celtics tonight. These series, they felt personal. These teams felt engaged. Uh, even the Cavs Heat game just kind of like 3 out of those 4 games were intense. The Heat were kind of in it. They kind of felt like they were trying to play for something, right? And just watch these playoffs just felt awesome. Draymond Green, like last night, was awesome. It doesn't show up. He does things that don't show up on the stat sheet because he's an impact guy. Impact guys don't necessarily yes, he gets a technical, and he might be the only player that can get a technical, and it improves the team. Just because he has been Steph's bodyguard for so long, and this has been his identity, his role, that he kind of scares people. And even in this game against the Rockets, it was like, oh shit, these guys do not give a fuck. They are playing chippy. He guarded Sengun on the final play. Like, hello? That is generational work. He's not putting up million stats. Actually, Pods was looking awesome tonight. He looked awesome. Steph Curry had a kind of an off night. He had 17 points. He had kind of an off night. But Jimmy Butler came in the clutch like he does, like how he performs. And Draymond did his job. The Warriors feel more physical and more imposing and more ready for the moment than the Rockets do. And this is not a bash at the entire Rockets team. It just feels more like there is one specific player that has not been contributing enough for the team to win. And that player is AJ Green. Is Jalen Green, excuse me. I don't know why I thought his name was was AJ Green. That AJ Green's a great shout out to Cincinnati wide receiver room. But Jalen Green, outside of the game that they won, has not scored. They're supposed to be their second leading scorer, sometimes even their first. And in the games that they've lost, he has put up single digit points. He has vanished and kind of left it to Sengun to try and drag them to victory. And obviously, Sengun almost did it the other night, but it just hasn't happened. He's a brilliant player, but he can only do so much. You need help. And the Warriors seem like they kind of have their help, and they have their guys, and they have their intensity. But the Rockets they have the similar kind. They were pissed in this game. They feel these games feel closer, even though they're up 3-1. I feel like Amen Thompson's been playing. He's been playing physically. He's been playing hard. Fred VanVleet had a sensational night. Alfred Sengun was also trying to pull his own weight. Steven Adams getting boards, just being tough and physical down the post. And this is like Dylan Brooks, even like he's like Timu Draymond, but still, it's been these games have been just exciting, and they've been fun to watch. And it's not like I feel like it put a lot of these old heads who say the game isn't physical anymore. They don't. They're soft. It put a lot of those people to bed because yes, the game is still physical. The game is still chippy. We still shit talk, and I've talked about basketball like it is not a tough guy sport. It is a shit talking sport. This is not. If you want to play like a tough guy sport, you play football, you play rugby, you wrestle, you do something where it is not a it's not against the rules to hit somebody. Uh Basketball is a shit talking sport, kind of like how soccer is a shit talking sport. How like you can't necessarily hit somebody, but you can talk shit. You can get them riled up. You can get them in their head, and that's the physicality that they're saying is missing from the game, and it's obviously not. Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks, Jimmy Butler, these guys are they're coming out with this energy. Shit, even the Pistons. Look at the Pistons. They were down 3-1 in the series. They stole a game. They came back in this series. It was almost like, felt like their seal was set. But if you had watched the games, it really didn't look like it. They had played complete. They had played physical. They were coming down the floor. They're chippy. They're talking. There's guys up in each other's faces. Even just like in these games, it's just been physical. It's been sensational, if I do say so. This has been one of the most entertaining first rounds of NBA playoffs that I have ever gotten to witness. This is a sensational run, and even so, like the Pistons coming back into the game. I know the Bucks just lost, but they lost in overtime on a Tyrese Halliburton buzzer beater, which was also kind of felt chippy because he was voted the most overrated player in the NBA, and it felt like he kind of had that chip on his shoulder, and he said, "Okay, gotcha. I'll call game." What did happen after that game, after the game had concluded, and the Bucks had been eliminated, was some very unclassy things that happened afterwards. Giannis was kind of standing on the floor, just kind of taking it in, just kind of obviously very emotional because they just lost a playoff series. And Tyrese Halliburton's father came up and started screaming in his face, waving a flag up in his face, kind of just being very disrespectful and rude. He had walked out onto the court and he was yelling at Giannis, which you look like Giannis is 6'11". He's not a little dude. He is very lucky Giannis didn't just like smack him or worse, because that could have gotten very ugly for Tyrese Halliburton's father very quickly. But Giannis, being the very humble and kind superstar that he is, he was just like saying, "Well, yeah, you know what? I have a ring. They don't." And then he was the way he went about it was very, very kind. Like he went about it very maturely, even though he had lost, and they've lost in the first round now for 3 years straight. So for him, even for him, outside of this drama and that, uh, just kind of just bad publicity stunt there, just not a bad publicity stunt. It's just bad publicity there for Giannis and for like the Indiana Pacers. Um, this is like the talks are now like, where is Giannis going to go? Because obviously Kyle Kuzma as a running mate in a playoff round, it just doesn't work. They tried to swing for the fences with Dame. That really didn't work. And he kind of seems a little frustrated, probably wants to leave. And I know there's a team out west. They could really use a big man who can score. A lot like, is it the Lakers? Is it the Thunder who have a million picks and could just kind of trade them like 3 or 4 first round. You need at least like 5 first rounders, but he's worth a lot. And him on, could you imagine him on the Thunder? That'd be wild. Um, and they have the capital to do it. There's a lot of teams that I think would be interested. I think the Knicks would probably be interested. I feel like the Lakers would just be an awesome place for him to go, or the Warriors. Like he would blend like fit right in with Luka and LeBron, and they didn't really pay a whole lot for Luka. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay him a lot, but shit, Giannis got already paid by Milwaukee. He was like, yeah, you want to win championships? I don't know. It would kind of be a very tough ask for the Lakers. I don't think they would shop him to the Lakers. I don't think they're that dumb or desperate, unless like they were said like, hey, you gotta trade him to the Lakers or else. But Milwaukee seems like on a down trend right now. Obviously 3 years and 3 first round playoff exits is not the way you want to go. Um, Even in that fashion, like the Pacers just walking off, like absolutely wild. The Magic getting eliminated by the Celtics, even that too, is just felt. It's just kind of felt odd. Like the Magic, this game was an absolute blowout. Um, but like I was talking about earlier, the physicality and the poise and the presence of these teams, even these lower level teams, these like the Magic were a 7th seed coming into this series. They played with a lot of grit, toughness. The game they won, they forced Boston to shoot the least amount of threes they had shot all season, which is impressive. They did some Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner have been impressive this series, and I give them their flowers because they lost to a team that is really good. The Boston Celtics are just good at every position. They might not have the best player on the floor, but they are just really good at every position. Not not like the Lakers who play tomorrow, who are not good at the center position and have a very weak bench. And if they don't play their guys, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I feels like they could get smoked in this game. It could be Wolves in 5 real fast. This could get real scary. These games tomorrow should be very fascinating. Um, a lot of it is Warriors Rockets has been just also like I've talked about earlier. It's going to be so entertaining. I think it heads back to it's going to be in Houston, so we'll see what that environment does, how Pods and Buddy Hield and these guys play, like uh, how the Warriors role players play. That will kind of determine the game. Because if they kind of go off like a high and then a low, I could see the Rockets stealing this game 6. Um, but or game 5 rather. Um, if they kind of if they bring that same intensity from the other night, shit, the Warriors could walk into the second round rested and ready to go. But or like Steph Curry has a generational night. I think that's the way the Warriors just win the series right there. Steph has either a generational night and the Warriors role players play or the Warriors role players just play really well like they did the other night. I think Steph having a really good night is probably more likely. But I feel like the Rockets are going to come in kind of pissed, kind of fiery. We'll see what Jalen Green can do. If Jalen Green comes in and plays like a perennial All Star, or is he going to play like the guy I saw in the Wings commercial? We don't know. Um, But the other game, we got a nice slate tomorrow. This is gonna be so nice. We got the T Wolves Lakers. This series we thought was going to be kind of very one sided to the Lakers, and it just really hasn't. The Lakers are thin, or they have none exist. They don't have a center. Jackson Hayes can't play. JJ Redick does not trust him at all. The Timberwolves are just incredibly deep. Not as deep as like Boston or Cleveland, but they are deep. They go deep into the bench, and they have dudes who can guard. They have dudes who can score. They have dudes they play. They're just very well built team. And Anthony Edwards is starting to look like a face of the league dude. I know that's been the talk for him recently, but it really is. He does look like he's the face of the league. He is playing like it. He's playing like Michael Jordan. And I feel like if the Warriors and T Wolves win tomorrow, that Warriors T Wolves round 2 games will be so cool to watch, because it's LeBron's two illegitimate children, not LeBron's two illegitimate, Michael Jordan's two illegitimate children facing off in the playoffs. Jimmy, but like, will this unstoppable force and this immovable object collide? But I feel like I don't think that's might happen yet, because I think the Lakers might steal Game 6. They might just be pissed. I think JJ Redick is going to be furious with them and just kind of fire them on this home game. We just gotta get this fucking game right now. We get Rui Hachimura. I need you to play really well. LeBron, I need everything from you. Luka just needs to win the star battle with Anthony Edwards. There's a lot more ways for the Lakers to lose the series tomorrow, but it's you just gotta roll with the punches. You have to roll with the punches, and you have to do something about the Nasri substitutions, or you will get murdered in the front court, because he's just too good. Jamal Murray's brilliance should never, ever be understated. 43 points in today's game. Led the Nuggets, led the game in a sensational series. This game was pivotal, and they absolutely crushed it. Jamal Murray had a performance like he often does to rival no other. He has been one of the best playoff performers of this generation. He has had that same kind of Jimmy Butler-esque level of physicality, grit. Just give me a bucket. He's been lights out from 3-point land. And even in a game where Jokic was not necessarily scoring a ton, he just picked up that load and decided, you know what, this is time. This is a game. He's tough. He is physical, and the Nuggets just punked the Los Angeles Clippers tonight. 131-115. This game was not even close. At some points they would go on runs, but Denver has just been they just look more physical. Aaron Gordon just looked more physical. Zubac played all right, but outside of him, the Clippers didn't get a necessarily generational night from Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden vanished. Like he often does in the playoffs, we have told and said and talked about time and time again about how James Harden has some great regular season games, and he shrinks. But not like Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, 43 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and a block. That is a stat line of champions right there. And through rolling his ankle through anything. This guy is physical. This guy, like, he's a nail biter kind of player. He just will. He has that Kobe-esque ability where if he gets hurt, he does not give a shit. He wants to play basketball. The basketball heals him. It was so crazy. He rolled his ankle on a defensive, getting back on defense. He had like Aaron Gordon had like kind of stepped on his ankle, and he was there was a free throws, and he was like bending down, obviously like in pain. But as soon as that ball touched his hands, on the inbound, he was walking normally. That dude is a killer. Very similar to Jim, very similar. We talk about like playoff Jimmy. There's playoff Jamal, and he is very real. They were talking about, oh yeah, he had like several 50-point game, like couple 50-point games in the bubble, where a lot of guys were um, it was his second highest scoring night, like third highest scoring night out, like his highest scoring night outside of the bubble, and that was just generational work right there by him. He's a brilliant player, and this was a brilliant game just executed by the Nuggets overall. It kind of looked very similar to this game, to Game 4, where the Clippers kind of had some life. They were kind of coming back into it, even though like especially when like Jokic was out of the game. But when Jokic was out of the game, Jamal Murray was playing great, so it didn't matter. Jokic could sit down. DeAndre Jordan came in and actually gave like some solid, like came in and played some solid minutes, so that Jokic could get a break. And he had a triple double, putting him in his 21st playoff triple double, putting him behind Magic Johnson and LeBron in the all-time playoff list. So another spectacular night for him. Even when he doesn't score, he impacts the game, just in every facet. And this is so fascinating. Russell Westbrook. Oh, he's washed. He's coming off the bench. This guy's terrible. He shouldn't play minutes. He had 21 points tonight. He was incredibly impactful. He's been impactful every game this series, hitting tough shots. This series has been absolute cinema. And going back to LA in a couple days, this thing is going to probably come down to the wire, because both of these teams refuse to give up. I feel like there's it has a very 90s feel, and this whole entire playoffs has had a 90s feel. And Jamal Murray is been so impactful. And Jokic and Aaron Gordon, these guys are just playing great. Like incredible basketball. And just this wasn't really like the Clippers' night. But like, you got to find points somewhere. James Harden has to get some buckets somehow. Kawhi Leonard, it feels like if the Clippers don't have a generational night from Kawhi, that they kind of folded. They started to have that playoff run, but Denver weathered that storm. They were going to go on like it looked like what they were going to go on that run that they did in Game 4, but it didn't happen. So this one's probably been the most entertaining series of the playoffs. Probably, actually, maybe second to the Warriors Rockets one. That one's been also just fucking awesome. But this entire playoffs has been really nice. Pretty cool. So I've been so glued to playoff basketball as of late that I haven't gotten to talk about probably the biggest story happening in sports right now, and that is the Shedeur Sanders slide. He slid all the way to the 5th round, pick 144 by the Cleveland Browns. And so we will be heading into the trenches to talk about that. This is probably one of the most historic slides of all time. Somebody who is predicted to be first round pick by a lot of people in the media, by myself, by everybody. Nobody was expecting this, not Shedeur, but apparently there was some things that happened that he had done that it was obviously tanked his draft. There, I was thinking, I've given my thoughts on the draft a little bit earlier, that when the Giants had traded up to pick 25, that they would take Shedeur Sanders. They did not. They took Jackson Dart. I was like, okay, that's pretty insane. Because after that, I was thinking, oh, the Saints probably won't take him, but I was sure the Steelers would. But it came to light post-draft, post the process, post everything, that Shedeur Sanders obviously did not interview well, that he had sandbagged some certain interviews so that the team wouldn't pick him. He viewed himself kind of maybe in like a maybe not a he viewed himself going in the top 5 or going at least in the first round. But a lot of people, GMs, the people who make those decisions, did not think that. They thought he kind of came off as arrogant. They thought he was coming across as somebody who did not deserve the hype that he was getting. And I find it very interesting because I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he is more talented than the majority of the quarterbacks in this class, outside of Cam Ward. Him sliding past guys obviously meant that they sliding into the 5th round. They obviously viewed him as a backup. And if you were a backup and a celebrity, you shouldn't be a backup. It's kind of why like Cam Newton struggled in his quest for like a second job because he was too famous. He was too flashy and too famous to be a backup. You just need somebody who's just gonna Josh McCown, Matt Castle, like somebody who you wouldn't recognize in if they walked in a grocery store. But Shedeur going like it would made me interested was that the Browns had taken Dillon Gabriel like in the 3rd round, kind of higher than a lot of people had him. Taken Dillon Gabriel, and then in the 5th round, they go ahead and take Shedeur as well, and it kind of felt like the owner's decision. Because if you look in the video, it looks like Kevin Stefanski does not look very happy, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. The GM of the Cleveland Browns also just kind of looks like, kind of have like that exasperated face. And you know who is right behind him? The owner, who pushed Deshaun Watson onto them, pushed Baker Mayfield out of that organization, and now they have 5 quarterbacks on their roster. They have Deshaun Watson, they have Joe Flacco, they have Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur actually probably has a chance to win the job. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to move any mountains in any, but like he's not the worst guy there. He has a shot. He's better than Kenny Pickett. He is obviously better than Dillon Gabriel, and Joe Flacco is really old. I feel like he'll probably be competing with Joe Flacco for the starting job, and the Browns just kind of feel a little. It just kind of feels a little weird. 5 quarterbacks. I know it's the Browns, and the Browns are just notorious for this, but Kevin Stefanski doesn't deserve that. Like none of the the Browns fans don't deserve that. They don't deserve to be like shit on constantly, but they have for ages and ages. I just really wanted to talk about it though. This whole fiasco has been incredibly interesting and funny to watch because It shows that, a little humility can kind of go a long way. That being like that, maybe underselling yourself sometimes can be a good thing. To be like, yeah, you know what, I can recognize something, uh, a bit like recognizing flaws about yourself, looking in the mirror a little bit, and it's a good message just to give to people. Granted, I think Shador was slighted. I'm not saying that that's the only thing to do. Like Shador, he should have been humble, but he also, like, he is talented and he should have been drafted higher. Um, but I just don't get it completely. But there is some merit. My final thoughts on this, on to wrap up this episode, is the fact that NBA playoffs are fucking awesome. And you know what? It's okay to stay a little humble. But with that, everybody, I really hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, night, whatever it is. You know, you guys, love you. Go follow my socials. Peace out.